Aloha, everyone, and welcome back to the program. Now, first of all, I do want to thank my old buddy No Clouds 111 for reminding me that I had yet to feature Albert King on the program. Now, to be clear, it wasn't like calling me out or anything like that. He was actually commenting on the Joe Bonamassa, Eric Gales, and John McLaughlin video while also sharing some really cool information about Albert King. So that's what kind of made me realize that I was probably a little derelict in my duties, and what, of course, led to this long-winded rabbit hole of excuses. So there you go. We're all caught up. So anyway, so please keep those comments coming. And of course, if you're worried, like hell, like I am, that one day I'll be selling pencils on the side of the road, please also subscribe, share, like, do all that stuff, because finally, we got Albert King live at the Fillmore. This is good. Seriously. Great band.
And from one day to another, everybody having the blues. Can you dig it? Now you take a little baby that's laying in the cradle, kicking and hollering and going on and tearing up the little baby bed, can't get that milk bottle fast enough. It's got the blues. Do you hear me? Now you take this girl that's got this main squeeze. That's a boyfriend, you know. And he just bought a brand new GTO. You know, she want to be with him every time he cranks it up. If he ain't going nowhere but around the corner to the soda fountain, she want to be right with him and show it off. This is why all the guys and gals be, you know. And this particular night, she get ready to go out, and mother said, whoa, wait a minute. You can't make it tonight, daughter. You were just out last night. That 2 minute night in a row. And she'll go in the room and fasten the door and won't eat and won't talk to nobody. What's wrong with her? I can't hear you. What's wrong with her? She sure enough got the blues. Some people call them the reds, the pinks, but when you get through, it's the old-fashioned country blues. That's all it is. I ain't seen my main squeeze in 10 long weeks today. You know I got 'em.
I do hope that that was worth the wait. Albert King, live at the Fillmore East, 1973. Whew. The once nicknamed the Velvet Bulldozer due to his sweet, smooth singing style and his large physical appearance. Also because as a young man, he actually drove a bulldozer as a young musician. Albert King was born April 25th, 1923 on a cotton plantation in Indianola, Mississippi. Maybe. You see, Albert's backstory has always been a little bit confusing, I guess. He has stated in interviews that he was in fact born in Indianola and that he was the half-brother of B.B. King. He has even cited the fact that BB's father is named Albert King as, I guess, some sort of proof. However, when he applied for a Social Security card in 1942, Albert King listed his birthplace as actually Aberdeen, Mississippi, and signed his name Albert Nelson. He also listed his father as Will Nelson. So I guess that puts it to bed. Maybe. Albert King began singing in church with a family gospel group as a child, and his father was a guitar player in that group. He made his first guitar out of a cigar box, a piece of wood, and I guess some strands from a wire broom, I guess. Pretty handy, right? He finally got his first real guitar that he paid a grand total of $1.25 for. That, my friend, that's a good return on your investment. And as being left-handed and being self-taught, he had to turn his guitar upside down, which you might have noticed in the video where the heavier strings, the E, A, and the D, are on the bottom as opposed to the top three strings of the guitar. Every once in a while, you'll still see a few people play like that, and honestly, it still kind of blows my mind. It just seems really confusing to me. And again, I guess if you're self-taught, you don't really know what those limitations are. So anyway, in 1953, Albert King moved to Gary, Indiana, where he briefly played drums for Jimmy Reed's band and actually appeared on several of Jimmy Reed's early recordings. It was also right around this time that he began to bill himself as B.B. King's brother. Told you we'd come back to this. He would sometimes even use the nickname Blues Boy, which, if you weren't aware, is what BB stands for, and even called his guitar Lucy. Of course, B.B. King's guitar is quite naturally Seal. Now, about this sort of misidentification, we'll call it, B.B. King had said, for a while he went around saying that he was my brother. And that kind of bothered me until I got to know him and realized that he was right. He wasn't my brother in blood, said Baby, but he sure was my brother in the blues, which I think is just a really cool thing to say. So Albert King stayed around the St. Louis area, playing in clubs and making some recordings here and there, but nothing really sort of hit. So in 1963, he moved to Memphis and then signed with Stax Records. That's when things really started to start kind of going his way. It's also where he recorded some of his biggest hits, songs like Crosscut Saw, As the Years Go Passing By, and Born Under a Bad Sign. It seems that the real key to Albert King's success at this time with Stax Records is that the record company had really gave his music a more of an upbeat, slick R&B sort of feel that made the songs more radio friendly and therefore more appealing to a larger audience. And it worked. In 1968, Albert King performed at Ike Turner's Manhattan Club in East St. Louis. One of the people in the audience was promoter Bill Graham, who offered him $1,600 to play 3 nights at the Fillmore Auditorium in San Francisco. I'm not sure, but my guess in '68, $1,600 for a relatively unknown solo performer, it's probably a pretty good payday. Those 3 concerts were later turned into 3 different concerts. One, Live Wire Blues Power. The other one Wednesday night in San Francisco, followed by Thursday night in San Francisco. And I guess maybe what had been missing in originality when it came to album titles was not missing in the excitement that his performances generated. And from there, things just really kept building for Albert King. In '69, he performed with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. The next year, he joined the Doors on stage at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. Those recordings, by the way, were finally released in 2010 by Rhino Records. So if you can find them and you're looking for something really cool, definitely check those out. So things were going good for Albert King until about 1975 when Stax Records filed for bankruptcy. And really at this time, I think his career sort of followed suit. It's like a lot of blues players in the era, the records stopped selling and finding places to play live were becoming harder and harder. He did end up signing with a smaller label called Utopia Records, but those records really didn't do much either. However, the last album he did for the label called Live Blues, which was recorded at the 1977 Montrose Jazz Festival, was actually quite notable, especially for a duet he played with Rory Gallagher of the song As the Years Go Passing By. My guess is my buddies up there in the UK probably already know that and probably already have copies stashed away in their attic somewhere. So those disappointing record sales in the mid to late, really the late 1970s, not late 1700s, in the late 1970s, led King to really just sort of take a step back, kind of semi-retire for about 4 years. But by 1983, he was ready for a comeback. And his live album, San Francisco 1983, was nominated for a Grammy. I believe it was that same year he performed with Stevie Ray Vaughan for a Canadian television show. That performance became an album and a DVD. And right now, of course, it's all over YouTube. I'm sure you've probably seen it. It's a great performance. And then his next release, 1984's I'm in a Phone Booth Baby, was also nominated for a Grammy. So back at it in the 80s, Albert King was just killing it once again. But of course, as he got older, the health problems did start to take their toll and catch up with him. So once again, in the late 80s, early 90s, he did consider, I guess, sort of retiring. He said, no, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And he had actually planned a tour with his brother, B.B. King, and with the great blues vocalist, Bobby Blue Bland. Unfortunately, that tour never happened because, sadly, we had lost Albert King December 21st, 1992. And it does kind of leave you wondering sort of, what could have been had that tour happened, and no doubt would have been recorded. I think it probably would have been one of the great blues records of all time. Pretty confident about that, actually. Anyway, I hope you really dug that Albert King track. Hope you enjoyed some of that Albert King history. Of course, as always, man, just help me out. If you could like, subscribe, comment, share it, whatever else is on the list, if you can do that as well. And we'll see you again next time, my friends. Y'all take care. Thanks for stopping by.